Tips to improve your English pronunciation. Pause the video to repeat phrases or words. Record your voice and compare it with the video. Actively listen, identifying familiar words or phrases. I first heard about the daily running challenge on a Monday morning while checking my phone. It looked simple at first: run every day and complete a small English task before each run. But then I read the details and realized it was much more intense. To advance in the challenge, I needed to learn and use 30 new English words or expressions every single day. The idea sounded exciting, but also a little scary. Still, something inside me said I should try. I had been wanting to improve my English for a long time, and I also needed motivation to exercise. This challenge brought both goals together perfectly. The website explained that the challenge was meant to help people build strong habits. Learn, speak, run, it said in big letters. I liked the sound of that. It felt like a new start. So, without thinking too much, I clicked the Join Now button. A message appeared saying, "Welcome to the race." My adventure officially began. The first task arrived a few minutes later. It was a list of 30 basic words like run, breath, energy, fast, slow, and focus. I thought, okay, maybe this won't be so hard. But the second part surprised me. I had to use all 30 words in short sentences while running. At that moment, I laughed nervously. Running and speaking English at the same time? That sounded like a real challenge. Still, I was curious to see if I could do it. After all, that was the point of signing up. Before starting my run, I practiced saying the words out loud in my room. I repeated them slowly, trying to memorize each one. Some were easy, but others felt strange on my tongue. I wasn't used to speaking English while moving around. But I kept going, telling myself I didn't need to be perfect. I just needed to learn something new every day. Once I felt a little more confident, I put on my running shoes and stepped outside. The weather was warm, and the sky was clear. It felt like a good moment to begin something different in my life. I took a deep breath and started jogging down the street. As I ran, I whispered the words softly, hoping no one would hear me. It felt strange at first, but also fun. I realized this challenge might push me in ways I didn't expect. And even though I knew the next days would get harder, I felt ready. My first run was just beginning, and so was my journey to learn English in a new and creative way. The next morning, I woke up early to start learning the new list of words. I thought the second day would feel easier, since the first one went well, but I was wrong. The new vocabulary was simple, but my mind felt slow and tired. Words like improve, strong, practice, repeat, and challenge looked familiar, yet I kept mixing them up. I sat at my table with a notebook, writing each word several times. Even so, nothing seemed to stick the way I hoped. As I practiced, I realized that learning 30 words every day was not as easy as it sounded. I had always learned English in small amounts, maybe 5 words at a time. But 30 words at once felt like trying to fill a cup too quickly. Everything spilled over. I repeated the words out loud, then covered the list and tried to remember them. Sometimes I got 10 right, sometimes only 3. It was frustrating, but I reminded myself that challenges are supposed to be hard. That's what makes them meaningful. I tried different methods to help myself. First, I created small phrases using the new words, like I want to improve my speed or this challenge makes me strong. Then I tried to draw little pictures next to the words to help me remember them. Some drawings looked terrible, but they worked. The word repeat became an arrow circling back, and practice became a stick figure running. These small tricks made the learning process more fun, even when my brain felt overloaded. After lunch, I went for a short walk to test myself. I whispered each word while moving slowly, hoping the rhythm of walking would help me remember. It actually worked better than sitting still. When I moved, the words seemed to come more naturally. Maybe my mind liked learning through action. Still, I knew the real test would come during my run. Using the words while breathing hard and trying to keep a steady pace would be much more difficult. By the time the sun began to set, I felt a mix of confidence and doubt. I didn't remember all the words perfectly, but I remembered more than I expected. I told myself, it's okay to make mistakes. Just keep trying. Learning English this way was new for me, and new things take time. As I prepared for my evening run, I repeated the words one last time. My goal wasn't perfection, my goal was progress. And even though the process was harder than I imagined, I could feel myself growing a little stronger each day. When I started my run that day, I felt a heavy pressure on my shoulders. I knew I had to use all the new English words during the run, or I would fail the challenge. At first, I repeated the words in my mind: improve, repeat, practice, strong, focus. But as soon as I began to breathe faster, the words started slipping away. My legs moved well, but my brain felt like it was running in the wrong direction. I tried to speak the words softly, hoping it would help, but I kept mixing them up. A few minutes later, I felt even more confused. I said practice when I meant repeat, and I couldn't remember the word improve at all. The pressure grew stronger with each mistake. I told myself not to panic, but it was hard. The challenge rules said I needed to use all 30 words correctly before the end of the run. I imagined my score dropping and my chance of staying in the challenge slipping away. My heart raced faster, not just from running, but from fear. Halfway through the run, I almost gave up. I slowed down and thought, maybe I'm not ready for this. Maybe learning so many words in one day is too much. My breathing was heavy, and I kept repeating the same 5 words instead of all 30. For a moment, I felt disappointed in myself. I wanted to stop, walk home, and pretend the challenge didn't matter. But something inside me refused to quit. I had joined this challenge to grow, not to run away from difficulty. So I took a deep breath and tried a new strategy. Instead of repeating the words randomly, I created a short story while running. I want to improve my speed. I need to stay strong. I will practice every day. I repeat the words. I focus on the goal. Suddenly, the words connected better in my mind. They became easier to remember because they had meaning. My feet moved more confidently, and my fear began to fade. I wasn't perfect, but I was improving step by step. By the end of the run, I wasn't sure if I had used all the words correctly. But I knew one thing: I didn't give up. I pushed through confusion and doubt, and that alone felt like a victory. When I finished the last block, I whispered the final word with a tired smile. I realized the challenge was not just about running or learning English. It was about staying strong even when things felt impossible. And that discovery made me ready for the next day. After almost failing the challenge the day before, I knew I needed a better way to study the 30 words. Sitting at a table and repeating the list wasn't enough for me. I needed something more fun, something that helped me remember without feeling stressed. So I opened my notebook and began to think of a new plan. I told myself, if I can make learning enjoyable, maybe the words will stay in my mind more easily. That idea gave me hope. I started by drawing simple pictures for each word. The drawings were funny and not very good, but they helped a lot. For the word energy, I drew a lightning bolt. For slow, I drew a turtle. For fast, I drew a running stick figure with big shoes. Suddenly, the words didn't feel random anymore. Each one had a small image connected to it. When I looked at the drawings, I smiled, and that made learning feel lighter. I realized that studying didn't need to be boring. Next, I decided to turn the words into a small song. I didn't worry about sounding good, I just wanted something catchy. I repeated the words in a rhythm, clapping my hands as I said them. Energy, practice, focus, strong. I sang it again and again, laughing at how silly it sounded. But the crazy part was that the method actually worked. The rhythm helped my brain remember the words in the right order. It became easier to say them without stopping. Later, I took my learning outside. I walked around the park and pointed at things that matched the words. If I saw a dog running, I said fast. If I slowed down to tie my shoes, I said slow. If the sun felt warm, I said energy. Connecting the words to real things made a huge difference. The world around me turned into a classroom, and I felt more confident every minute. Learning through movement felt natural, almost like a game. By the end of the day, I felt proud of my progress. For the first time, I wasn't scared of forgetting the words. I knew my creative methods were helping me learn in a way that matched my style. When I sat down to review the list one last time, the words came to me easily. It felt like a victory. I was ready for the next run, not just to complete the challenge, but to enjoy it. For the first time, I believed I could truly succeed. The next morning, I woke up feeling tired even before getting out of bed. My legs were heavy from the previous runs, and my mind felt slow. I looked at the new list of 30 words and felt a wave of worry wash over me. Words that should have been simple suddenly looked difficult. I tried to practice them like usual, but nothing stayed in my memory. My creative methods helped before, but today, even they didn't seem to work. I knew this run would be tough. When I started running, my body felt weak. Every step was harder than the one before. I tried repeating the words as I jogged, but my mind kept going blank. Focus, energy, practice, I whispered, but then I forgot the next words completely. My heart sank. The rules were clear. If I couldn't use all 30 words correctly during the run, I risked being eliminated from the challenge. The pressure grew, and each mistake made me more frustrated. I felt the fear of failure following me like a shadow. Halfway through the track, I almost stopped. Sweat covered my face, and my breathing grew unsteady. I told myself, maybe today is the day I fail. Maybe I just can't do this. The negative thoughts made everything worse. My steps slowed, and I felt close to giving up. The challenge, which once felt exciting, now felt impossible. My mind kept shouting the same question. Why did I think I could handle 30 new words every day? I had no answer. But then I remembered why I started. I wanted to improve my English, push my limits, and prove to myself that I could learn in a new way. I didn't want this difficult day to decide my entire journey. So I forced myself to breathe deeply and tried a new technique. I grouped the words into sets of 5 and repeated them slowly. Speed, slow, repeat, strong, goal. Once that set felt steady, I moved to the next. It wasn't perfect, but it helped me regain control of my thoughts. By the time I reached the end of the track, I wasn't sure if I had used all the words correctly. But I knew one thing, I didn't quit. Even on my hardest day, I pushed through the tiredness, the doubt, and the fear of failing. That alone made me feel stronger than before. As I walked home, breathing deeply, I realized that challenges aren't meant to be easy. They're meant to test you. And even though today was painful, I felt proud of myself for surviving it. Tomorrow would be another chance to rise again. The day after my difficult run, I still felt worried about the challenge. My legs were tired, but my mind felt even more exhausted. I sat at a bench in the park with my notebook open, staring at the new list of 30 words. Nothing made sense. I tried reading the words out loud, but my voice sounded unsure. At that moment, my friend Lucas walked by and noticed my frustrated expression. He sat next to me and asked what was going on. I explained everything, the daily runs, the 30 words, and how I almost failed the challenge yesterday. Lucas listened carefully and nodded. He didn't laugh or say it was silly. Instead, he said, "I can help you. Learning alone can be tough. Let's study together." His words felt like a small light turning on inside me. I felt a bit embarrassed at first, but also relieved. I handed him the list, hoping another person could make the challenge feel less overwhelming. We began studying the words one by one. Lucas created funny sentences that made me laugh, like, "The giant turtle has energy in the morning," or "I practice running so I don't look like a potato." The sentences were silly, but they helped me remember the words much faster. Every time I forgot something, he repeated it with patience. Soon, the words stopped feeling heavy and confusing. They started to feel simple again, like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. After reviewing all the words, Lucas suggested we try a quick practice round. We walked around the park, pointing at things and using the words in real sentences. "Look, that kid has great speed," he said. "And that dog needs to rest." I joined in, slowly gaining confidence. The fear from the previous day began to fade. With someone by my side, learning didn't feel like a lonely battle anymore. Instead, it felt like teamwork, and teamwork gave me strength. By the time we finished, I felt ready for my next run. I thanked Lucas for helping me, and he smiled, telling me he believed I could finish the challenge. As I walked home, I repeated the words again, this time with a lighter heart. I realized I didn't have to face everything alone. Sometimes, a little support is enough to bring motivation back. And with that new energy, I felt prepared to continue the challenge, one word, one step, and one day at a time. The morning of the final race arrived, and I woke up with a mix of fear and excitement. This was the last day of the challenge, and I needed to use all 30 new words correctly while running. I sat on my bed with the list in my hands, reading each word slowly. Thanks to my friend Lucas, I felt more prepared than ever. Still, my heart beat fast as I tied my shoes and stepped outside. Everything I had worked for came down to this run. When the race began, I started repeating the words in my mind just like I practiced. Energy, repeat, strong, goal, improve. The rhythm of my steps helped me remember them. For the first time, the words didn't feel heavy or confusing. They flowed naturally, almost like they were part of my breath. As I ran, I used them in simple sentences. I need focus. I feel fast today. I want to improve. Each sentence made me more confident. I felt myself getting stronger with every lap. Halfway through the race, I felt a small moment of panic. I suddenly forgot 2 words and slowed down. But instead of giving up, I remembered Lucas's silly sentences. They made me laugh, and the missing words popped back into my mind. With a smile, I repeated them clearly and kept going. My legs were tired, but my spirit felt light. I knew I was close to the end, and I didn't want to lose now. I pushed myself harder, feeling the excitement grow inside me. As I approached the finish line, I said the last few words out loud with confidence. Practice, repeat, success. When I crossed the line, I stopped running and placed my hands on my knees, breathing deeply. A message appeared on my phone. Congratulations! You completed the challenge. I couldn't believe it. I had done it. All the hard days, the doubts, the tired legs, the long study sessions, they were worth it. I felt proud, stronger, and surprisingly emotional. Walking home, I realized something important. Learning English was no longer just part of the challenge. It had become part of my life. I enjoyed repeating new words, creating sentences, and finding ways to practice during the day. The challenge had pushed me to grow in ways I didn't expect. Now, every new word felt like a small victory. As I looked at the sky with a big smile, I knew this was only the beginning of my journey, and I couldn't wait to keep going.